You've heard the expression, like father, like son. I ran into this just a while back. I was celebrating a funeral, and I was celebrating the funeral of a dear friend of my parents, who became, the couple became friends of mine as well in my later years as I grew up, not so much in my teenage years, but when I college and seminary and beyond and into my priesthood. As they remained friends, this couple and my parents, I became friends with them by association. And at the funeral, after the funeral at the collation, the widow said to me, "You sound just like your father." She had her eyes closed during my homily at one point, and apparently the tone of my voice and the tenor of my voice sounded just like my father. And I think that tends to run in my family, at least among the boys. We do tend to sound like my father at times, which I took as a high compliment, because he was a great man. And I often tell people that 90% of the things that come out of my mouth emanated from my mother or my father. And so we have this association today of father and son, that the son does nothing apart from the father. Of course, he does so in union with and through the power of the Holy Spirit. And so this mystery of the sacred Trinity, the Holy Trinity, is one of the great central mysteries of our faith, one of the most widely thought of and prayed over, but probably misunderstood unions. This idea of three persons in one God, Father, Son, and Spirit. And we tend to compartmentalize the Trinity, if you will, thinking of the creative nature of the Father and the redemptive nature of the Son and the sanctifying nature of the Holy Spirit. But each one of them, if you will, each person in the Trinity possesses the fullness of the Trinity in and of themselves. And so there really is no separation between Father and Son. And so the ministry, the mission, the message, and the person of Jesus Christ is intrinsically linked to that of the Father and the Spirit. And this is something that the authorities of the day cannot kind of wrap their heads around. They cannot come to understand, even though they claim to be disciples of Moses. They claim to be followers of the prophets. They fail to see Jesus as the fulfillment of the law and the prophets. They fail to see Jesus for who he is, as Messiah and Lord. This reading today, this gospel reading, comes on the heels of yesterday's reading when he heals the paralytic, who tells the man at Bethesda, the pool in Bethesda, who he tells to, rather than putting him in the water, he simply tells him to pick up his mat and walk. And the man himself, who has been healed, is taken to task by the Pharisees because he's carrying his mat, which is prohibited on the Sabbath. It's considered work. And Jesus himself is taken to task for healing on the Sabbath. Of course, with any of the healings that Jesus undertakes, he does not check the calendar. He does not see when it is and say, "Oh, it's the Sabbath. I'm sorry, I can't heal you." He doesn't back away from any of these opportunities, these challenges that might be presented to him to bring these people to healing, whether it be blindness or some sort of physical infirmity, such as Sunday's gospel with the man born blind, and this yesterday's gospel with the man seeking healing through the pool at Bethesda, who's told to pick up his mat and walk, which he does, and to the amazement of all around him. But those of us who know the mission of Jesus, those of us who know the person of Jesus, should not be amazed at all, for this is the mission of Jesus, to bring fullness of life, to bring a fulfillment of the law and the prophets, to take all of that which the prophets have spoken of and to bring it to fruition in himself. In just a few short weeks, we will be once again celebrating the passion, death, and resurrection of Christ. And in celebrating this, we celebrate that opportunity that God gives to us to share in the fullness of life, to share in the miracle of resurrection, which we will share in one day. May we, as the people of faith, come to recognize the opportunities that God gives to us each and every day to be a people of faith, hope, and love, to recognize that it is in the Holy Trinity of Father, Son, and Spirit that we find life, and life abundantly.